Welcome to East Meets West. And today I have my special friend all the way from Australia joining us this evening. Her name is Maggie Hunter. And Maggie is, I would say, the health and wellness coach. And she's been in this field for over 20 years, working with top executives, in the corporate and maybe also in public sector. But all these key people that, you know, work so hard are be at it all the time. And what she does is something phenomenal that we're going to talk about here this today. And it's on taking time out. It is about your health, it's about wellness, especially as leaders who are always on the go. And I might be guilty of this too, but I love to hear how Maggie did this with executives, around the world for so many years, and what we can also be learning from her. She is a person like me to love to add value to others, and tonight she will be adding some value to us too. So Maggie, is there anything else you'd like to add to what I've just said?
No, that's basically everything that you've said about me. I would have said that. So yeah, there's nothing to add to that.
Welcome, Maggie, and thank you so much for giving this time out. I do know with our time difference right now and making it, something that's available for us here. And how I met Maggie on our transformational trip to Papua New Guinea. And Maggie's heart, in fact, Maggie's also was born, yeah, in Papua New Guinea and
Yeah.
lived there for some time. So her heart really is to help the people there too, and it's amazing, Maggie's journey, and I love listening to her. In fact, I love her accent too. So tonight, yes, and so Maggie, tell us all about this health and wellness for executives, for leaders, and the importance of all of this that you have shared with me.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Shanti. Thank you so much for having me on this call this morning. And thank you to everyone that's listening in. Well, my background in health and wellness started 22 years ago um, here in Australia. So I was fortunate enough to work in a lot of the top wellness retreats around Australia. So I got to meet a lot of corporate clients. And one thing I noticed, as I was working with these corporate clients, I found that a lot of them are, hungry for power, and they want to do the right thing, and they want to be the best, competition and all that. So working hard and striving hard to get to that, and putting their health on the line. So what my job, my team and I, what we used to do was we would write up, like a menu thing for them to come away for 10 days. Some even came away for 7 days. So some of the people we worked with were like Hewlett Packard and Bentley and Porsche. We had a lot of car clients, corporate clients, like big names. And they would come away for 10 days. And the whole idea of them coming away for the 10 days was to recuperate, rejuvenate, like leave the work and do things that was outside of work, like team building, having time out and time for themselves to reflect and see, try to balance out their work life and I would say personal or family life, And most of them, in my experience, I found didn't make any time for health. Health was something that wasn't important to them. It was their life was all about go, go, go. What am I going to achieve? What am I going to, get out of this? And I had one particular client, a very senior corporate clients who traveled nearly every week. He was traveling out of Australia, going to Singapore or America or somewhere in the world. And when he got really sick, he was a regular client of mine, so I built a very good relationship with him. And I got to know a lot of the things that he was doing. So when he was in hospital and after his time being in the hospital and all that, he came back. I asked him a few questions. I asked him, what was he thinking when he was in hospital? Because he was in hospital for like 3-4 months. Like he was very sick. And he said to me, he said, Maggie, it taught me to change the way I do things in my life. It made him think that he didn't think about money. He didn't think about the next project. All he thought about was getting out of the hospital, getting better. He only focused on healing. But he said that was never on his mind when he was working. So that really got his attention. And a few others like that. So what I did with a lot of my other clients after that just coming away was mainly we help them with their mindset too. Mindset to, on the ground that I'm not just here to work. I'm going to make time for myself. My health is important. And one thing this client of mine said was his health was more important than having $1 million in his bank account. He said, Maggie, money does not matter when you are sick. Because, actually, when you're in the hospital, money is not going to make you better. So it's so important to make time for ourselves, especially all us. We're all leaders and we like to get ahead and we want to do everything for everyone, for the company. But we need to make time for our health. We should actually put health our priority, then put family, then business. That's how I look at it. Health comes first. Because without your health, you can't do anything. So it's important to take time out in your busy schedule and go away to places, find retreats that you can go away for like 7 to 10 days. And what we did on this retreat, some people came away, we actually planned their menu. So like they had lunch and dinner, all that. But aside from that, we actually planned things for them to do. So team building, they would go water rafting or go out and do out on site. We liaised with other wellness industry, so people in yoga and martial arts and things like that. We would, send our people off to go and do those things. So they did not just come and stay in our retreat where the hotel was for a whole week or whole 10 days. They went out and did things. And the feedback I got from a lot of them is it gave them clarity. It helped them to work together as a team with their team members. But whatever project that they were working on, when they went back, they had massive clarity and could focus on what they were having, because a lot of them said, most of them were working on projects that came away to us, because the project either got too much for them or it was stressing them out, things like that. So their companies would send them away to come and do things like that.
Oh, I'm listening to you, Maggie, and I'm thinking that, oh my, there's so many people. And I think, as I said before, is that I think sometimes maybe I also go. And some maybe executives who are listening, some business owners, who are listening to us today might fall into that category too, where you could just work all the time. And I love what I do. So some nights I have to tell myself, time to go to bed. go and sleep, get your 6 hours rest, and then go again. Or else you leave me, I would just go all the time. But I love the idea of that, few days retreat and recouping. And it's like putting a stop into like the chaos or the craziness that's going on. You just go, and you're on it. Your brain is just going all the time, and taking that time out for me, that was a lesson I had to learn too, is to stop, reflect, and just zone out actually from the regular routine that you're doing all the time. Just zone out. Sometimes multiple times in the day to just zone out and not think about any work related stuff. Like something really simple, maybe even just feeling your toes, something that is distracting from the routine of what you're doing, and just zone out for just a couple minutes. But I do love the idea of coming away, for a few days. And I remember you were telling a story about when one of the executives was actually with his laptop. Tell us about
Yes. Yeah, this particular, that was actually the Hewlett Packard group. And he couldn't help himself, and he took his laptop, because part of their package, they had treatments as well. So they were having a massage. He was booked in to have a massage, and he snuck his laptop into the room. And one of my girls came out and said, Maggie, I can't do the treatment. The guy is working on his laptop. And I said, you're joking. So I went in the room and I said, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm just doing some work. And I said, isn't this time for you to relax and enjoy the time away so you can go back fresh and work on whatever the project you're working on? He just looked at me and I said, I will have the laptop. Thank you very much. And I took it away from him. I don't think he was happy, but that's what that was my job, to do that. You're coming away to relax, you're leaving everything behind, meaning you leave everything behind, Whatever you do in your room with your laptop, that's fine. But when you're coming, to the spa and all that, yeah, so that was a funny situation. But we've had so many incidents like this, people trying to do work while they're sitting in the spa pool, and you literally have to go and tell them nothing is allowed in this area, It's like time to zone out, time for yourself, like, mind, body, spirit, brain, soul, bring it together, because we can't operate just on one. We gotta have all three to balance. So I would say even going for a walk, Shanti, I find that sometimes you just gotta get away from your desk, because when you're stressing, in my experience with the executives, when you're stressing, you're not going to get anywhere if you continue working on the project. You have to walk away, so give your mind a rest. And when you walk, it's actually proven, scientifically proven, that when you walk away, endorphins and all those happy things come into your mind, happy thoughts. And I love walking down at the beach. I'm privileged to live 10 minutes away from the beach. So I usually, when I feel a bit stressed, that's my go to go put my feet in the water.
I love that. For me too, I love watching the ocean, the waves. To me, that's relaxing for me. And I think, for our viewers too, is that what for you will be relaxing. And I do know there are some people who don't work so much, and they do have a lot of built-in activities and fun time and all of that. But yet I'm speaking to the ones maybe who are like me that needs to take that time out sometimes and just reflect, just zone out from everything that you're doing. And I think something connecting back with life or reality might be that you do something, whether it's the retreat for executives or it is just some time out without the work aspect of it. Because as Maggie said, I do know people too. They take the time out and take the laptop, or they're on their phone actually still working and answering emails or messages or whatever. You're still there. So this is not about you need to totally zone out. This is what Maggie is talking about.
That's correct. Yes.
Yes.
It's total peace. Needs to have total, peace. That's why I love going away to places that have no internet connection.
Yes.
They're the best places to go. Up in the mountains.
I remember a few years back, I took some of my girls. We went to a place that don't have any internet, and funny thing, it don't have no cell service neither. So you could not make any call, and of course you can't get onto the internet. For them, that was it was like I'm torturing them. And you can imagine teenagers without the phone. But you know what? It was also a memorable time for them. We sat in the evening, we sat and put our feet into the lake. We went canoeing and we learned how to canoe because or no kayaking. We learned because we many times we were able to direct the canoe into the river or into some tree or something. So we had to figure it out, and it was a fun learning time for them. Walking in the jungle midnight, it's pitch dark. There's no light in that area, so we had to actually, the guide had a torchlight, and then at one time we turned it off. But the experience that they had was something that they would remember and all of that. And so what doing this here, it's about you and being able to just zone out from the routine. And it's sad to know that indeed, like Maggie shared, is that sometimes a heart attack or something really terrible have to happen to us before we start putting things into perspective, and life, your life, especially my life, into perspective. And that is something I started doing this year. I said I'm going to become more energetic, and so I joined a kickboxing classes, and so that's something I wanted to do, and I'm going to keep up my commitment to be energetic and to lose the weight, and as I grow older, that I can be able to feel more healthier, I would say. But it's sometimes than waiting for something terrible to happen, to open your eyes to see that there are times when you need to take a time out, take a break, and do something different.
That's right, yeah.
So, Maggie, is there anything else you would like to help our viewers with, especially those busy viewers who needs to hear this?
Well, I would say if you can't go away for 10 days or 7 days, even just one day, or even just walking away, like we said earlier on, just walking away even half the day or something. But it's important to do that because I find when you do that, the work is going to be there no matter what. You come back, it's there. It's not going to leave the table. It will be waiting for you. So I would say it's important for your health, for your own health, and not only you. If you're married and you have families, it's for your family as well. So making time for your health is important, not only for you, for family and those around you. So that's the only thing that I can think of on top of my head. But our health is more important than making money. I can tell you that. With 20 years, 22 years in the industry, and the amount of people I met, and I had so many people that I met that went through heart surgery, like bypass and all that, all due to stress, because that's what stress does. A little bit of stress, it gets into your system. Stress is something that we don't see, but it actually works from the inside, and it starts cancer. I mean, they've done research. Cancer starts off with stress. Heart attack starts with stress.
Yep.
So we gotta put that, tackle it and do something. And like you said, you're doing kickboxing, and I'm going to join the gym myself because when I was working in the industry, I was at it, 24/7, 7 days a week. But now I've left it to work on my own, so I have to keep up what I preach.
I I think, some people have the mind to be able to do some workout or something by themselves, and that's okay. And then some of us, for me, learning, being a coach and knowing that when you have a coach working with you, you go faster than what you would have done by yourself. And
That's
so
right.
that's, for me, it's, I know that I've experienced that. I am a trained coach that understands that. So for me, it's finding who's going to push me, and that's why I went and get my coach that is going to help me in that area and push me that I won't, relax and just settle for anything. Just maybe for me, if you leave me, I might just do some walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes, 50 minutes, and I think I had enough. But then, having a coach working alongside with you will help you to go faster in whatever it is that you want to do. Not only on our side that we're talking about life coaching or business coaching and achieving goals or, results in whatever it is you want, performance, but also in your health, and who, is good at those areas that can coach you, that can mentor you into your health, because that is something, as Maggie said, no money can't buy, right? And if you take care of your health, your body, is that you are going to live longer. You will, attract less issues, I would say. But
Right.
it's indeed that kind of, we've seen also lots of mental health issues with people too, because they're under stress and they get also depressed when something might not be working here, might not. But sometimes I do believe taking a time out do help you to reflect and bring back, why you're doing this, whatever it is in the first place. And, if it's not for something bigger than you, then you might be actually overdoing it in that area by working all the time. And if it's money that you think that you can work so much and all the time, and you will gain, so much money, and you will be happy, and at the expense of what? So
Yourself.
that is the cost you will have to choose if you're willing to pay. And so Maggie is saying here, and I am also encouraging you, take time out. It isn't worth it to be working so much. And those who get it actually do that. I do see some executives who take their weekend out with their families, and or they go out with their friends and they do something different, not, zone out from work and all of that. So I encourage you to think seriously about your health and how your day to day, your week to week, your month to month, year to year is going, if it's filled with only work. Because Maggie don't want to hear that you're coming because you had a heart attack, or
But,
you lost your family, and depression or something happened. That's when you wake up and said, okay, I need to start to balance in my life here and take my health, myself, my wellness into consideration here now through it all.
that's
Yes.
correct, yes.
So Maggie, do you want to leave us with anything before we close this program today?
I would just encourage, like I said, encourage each and everyone that's listening today. Uh, yeah, just make time for yourself, really. Even, it doesn't have to be, like I said, going away. You could just go down to the beach or go somewhere, read a book, but just take time out because, uh, you know, they've done studies where it says when you are not present, your heart beats really fast. Even your mind is all over the place. But when you're in the moment, and let's say you're reading a book and just being in the moment, don't worry about what's going on around you. Just that's your time, whether you're reading the book or you're sitting at the beach. You find actually your heart rate drops and you're in the zone where you're just at peace with nothing, nothing that is. So I would just encourage everyone, just even just take time out. Meditation is so good for the whole mind, body, and soul. So yeah, that's what I would leave you with. Take
So
some action steps.
yeah, definitely. And it's not everything you need to go do. It's sometimes just small little things. Even if it's get
Yeah,
up from your desk and walk around your office, speak to somebody, get to know somebody that you might not usually do because you're so busy. And that is the word I keep hearing from people almost every single day. I am so busy. I can't believe where the day went or what happened today that, I didn't get to do this. I didn't get to do. Oh, no. You need to take the time out back and look back, reflect on that day and change it the next day, do something different the next day. And just small steps. The whole 10 days might be not something, realistic for you right now. But even if it's just one day, and you can actually plan something like that too, or you can get Maggie to come and actually do that in your organization too. I don't think she'll come to Guyana, but I know she can do that with her clients there in Australia. And likewise, I can also do for you here. But it's something that you can also just do on your own, just few minutes every day, break, do something different. Yep. So guys,
yeah,
do share this video with anyone that you need to hear this, anyone that you know that in your life that is maybe on the go all the time, need to take some time out, need to start thinking health wise and all of that, their mental wellness, I would say. Share this with them, encourage them also with some of the pointers Maggie would have shared, and help them through it, because sometimes I think people become workaholic, and until they accept that they're a workaholic, there is no way that they can actually start doing anything to change that, or seeing it, that how it's going to help. So Maggie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for adding value to our viewers, to myself, to reminded me about my health and my wellness, and not be on the go all the time, and take a break, do something different. I might just go walk on the seawalls we have out here. But indeed, enjoy your day, guys. See you in the next program. And Maggie, again, thank you so much for joining us.
thank you so much. Thank you for having me on.